Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to my channel. I am Meg from meg4.com and I am here to inspire you to live a less cluttered life. Doesn't that sound nice? Having like a home that you're proud to go home to, coming home and your house is like clutter free, or when cleaning day rolls around, there's really not a ton to clean, sweeping, mopping, dusting, putting everything back because you don't have a ton of stuff. Doesn't that sound really nice? I want to help you get to a place where your home is a sanctuary and not a dumping ground for things. So this video is going to be leaning more to like the extreme opposite of minimalism, a word that we all became really familiar with 10 years ago because of TLC. It is the term hoarder. What is a hoarder, really? I mean, there's such a spectrum for this word, but I really want to talk to you about like 10 facts that people don't commonly understand about hoarding. And hoarding can happen on every level. Hoarding can be as simple as you just can't get rid of things and your drawers are full of things you don't need, your house is full of things that you don't need, and it may not look super cluttered or as extreme as the TV show Hoarders, where people can barely walk through their homes. But there is a level of hoarding that as Americans we kind of like lean towards, where we just buy things every time we're out and we need to get things that are on sale, and we buy things that we see commercials for, and we are influenced to buy things that we really don't need. So I am the type of influencer who will tell you don't buy things. And if I ever tell you like, hey, I have this random cool thing, maybe you should buy it, I'm not being the type of influencer who wants you to buy useless stuff. It's really because it will enrich your life. So anything that I talk about, it's because I personally use it, and I'm not trying to fill your house with clutter. That's what makes me a little bit different. I do want to be an influencer, but I want to be an influencer that influences you to a better quality of life. I hope that made sense. So let's talk about 10 things that you might not know about hoarding. And I wrote them down on my laptop, so I'm looking at my laptop. All right, number 1, hoarders will fill up any space they're given. Now this could be from a tiny house or an RV or a trailer into a big giant house that's like 2,000 square feet or 3,000 square feet. As humans, we tend to fill up whatever space we're given. So when I lived in a tiny house, 300 square feet, I filled it up. And we kind of just tend to, and if we don't like keep in check with what's coming in through the front door, it's really easy to fill up our space. So that's why I always encourage people to write a note, a little sticky note, and put it on your door to be wary and to be aware. Are you bringing things in every single day? You will be surprised when you put that note up, like, oh my gosh, how much do we bring in every single day? The kids' homework, the kids' artwork, things that we get outside, groceries, just so many things come inside of our front door. So just be more aware of that. Fact number 2 is, as of 2013, which is not even that long ago, hoarding is actually recognized as an official disorder under the umbrella of OCD. So it's treated, of course, like a little bit differently, but it is technically a form of OCD in the psychology, psychiatry world. And I didn't really know that it was an official diagnosis, but it is. Number 3, I found this super interesting, that over a third of hoarders have ADD. And I think it has to do with like the impulse with ADD and ADHD, and having to like, I need that, I need to keep that, I need to reference that all the time, I need these things here, it makes me feel safe. I thought that was fascinating that a third of hoarders have ADD or ADHD. Fact number 4, hoarding is hereditary. Statistically, if your mother was a hoarder, or your father was a hoarder, or you grew up in a hoarder home, the chances of you being the same way are high. This one was pretty obvious, but if you grew up thinking that this was normal to always be acquiring things and never letting things go, you would probably just live that way into adulthood. Number 5 is something that I found super interesting that psychologists have called clutter blindness. So when they asked hoarders, when they were outside of their homes, to draw a floor plan of their home and what their home looks like, where furniture is, where stacks of things are, and then they showed them actual photos of their home after this exercise, they did not match, and they actually couldn't recognize their own homes sometimes because they built in this clutter blindness, and they didn't realize how much was really there or what their home really looked like. It's almost like creating a mental blind spot, the same way that we maybe block out traumatic experiences in our past. But it is an official term, you can Google it, clutter blindness. May we not fall victim to clutter blindness in our homes. Number 6, hoarders do not all hoard for the same reason. So sometimes a traumatic event happens and it makes them feel safe. Some people are disaster planners and I just need all of these things. Some people cannot let go of things for fear of like, I'm going to need this later. And I think it all comes down to safety. I mean, most things in our life come down to fear, why we behave in certain ways. Number 7, paper hoarding is often about the information. So you know how people will collect like every issue of the New York Times since they were born, or magazines or recipes and things. It's about like, I need to reference that information later. Thankfully, with the internet, we really don't need to like, I mean, honestly, I only own a couple books at this point because when I'm done reading one, I'll give it to somebody, if it was good, I'll give it to somebody that I know will enjoy it. Or I get the Audible version so I can like listen to a certain chapter or a certain point at every time. It's not the same as reading, I know. I get the paper on Sundays and I'll read the paper on Sundays, but I'll listen to a book and I'm able to like retain the information faster because I can multitask because of Audible. And then I don't have like any bookshelves in my house. So of course it would be different for someone who really treasures books, and minimalism would look differently for you. You can have 7 bookshelves full of books and be super minimalist in another area of your life because that's what brings you joy. It's very personal what brings you joy and what minimalism will look in your life. I got sidetracked. You did. Number 8. Facts about hoarding is that most hoarders, or almost all hoarders, are perfectionists. And I know this sounds like counterintuitive, like how are they perfectionists? Their houses don't look what we think like perfect, like in a magazine, but they're perfectionists because they can't let it go. They can't let their things go. They think that they are being more effective and being more perfect by never letting anything go because they don't want to be in any form of lack. They don't want to be caught without what they need. So they believe that they are keeping it and that is a wise decision because they could use it later. So in their brains, they're being perfectionists. I know, very interesting. Number 9 is that hoarders will often have like an exquisite sense in like color and shape. They see the world completely differently than we do, and they can like muster up enthusiasm over like the perfect bag of hair ties, and like they obsess over like their favorite color, and they find beauty and appreciation in things that we may not always because we perceive the world just completely differently. And I thought that was really cool. It came from a British Journal of Psychology, the epidemiology of hoarding disorders. I thought that was fascinating. All right, our last sort of fact about hoarding that you may not have known, or really surprising, is that hoarders are often very thoughtful and considerate. A lot of times they will hoard things and keep things and collect things because they want it to be useful for others. Like here, I'll always have a hair tie. I'll always have a book to give you. It's like they're very considerate and thoughtful of others, and they're really good at collecting and thinking of others. Oh, I should get this for so-and-so. Isn't that so interesting? So those are the 10 facts, very surprising facts about hoarding that you may not have ever heard of or even thought of. But the point of my channel is not to like necessarily talk about hoarding, but really just self-evaluate and be like, do I lean towards hoarding? Is there an area of my life that I can reevaluate? And is it maybe like destroying my little home base? And can I improve that? For me, I want my home to be a sanctuary, and I don't want to walk in the front door and be like, oh, there's just so much stuff. Like I really want my whole house to feel light and airy and decluttered. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, please hit the like button and subscribe to this channel, and click the little bell so you can get a notification every time I come out with a new video, which is just about every single Friday. And of course, find me on social media. I'm always sharing tips over on social media. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you over there on my blog and social media and on the next video. Bye!